that one person that God's got for you may have not intersected your life yet. What a cool thing it is that we can simply tell people what God has done in our own life. They can't say that's not true. Our life being changed is fact. People can't repudiate that. They may reject it, but they can't say it's not true when we're living proof of that. Pharaoh died and God spoke to Moses. So now Pharaoh that was coming after Moses and causing him all this grief died. A new Pharaoh comes up, right? Exodus 3, verses 1 to 12. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law. Now when he went to Midian, he found a little sweet thing there, and we do what we do, right? God must have put her there for me. That's what he did with Judy. And so he settled in there and started producing babies. Now remember, he is way far away in another land, hiding from Pharaoh. And it's pretty imperative that you guys understand the whole situation of this. God had moved him to a place of safety, but he didn't know it. Just like God does with us. He didn't know it because God was getting ready to implement a plan in his life. I want to tell you guys that that plan could be right around the corner from you. God is, all of us in this room is preparing us for what he's got ahead for us. And so don't lose sight of him, because you just don't want to be out there doing crazy stuff, man, when he's ready to give you the assignment, because then you probably have to delay it again. Okay? So, and he led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a burning bush. Can you guys ever imagine something like that happening? But God can do anything, right? He can do anything. And so here you got a bush on fire that ain't being consumed. That's a trip, huh? And all of a sudden, check this out. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. Inquiring minds want to know. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called him from within the bush. God can speak to us any way he wants. He spoke through a donkey once, man. Come on. You think that he's restricted by our communication skills? No. He can talk to us through anything. Get our attention. Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Can you put yourself in that place right now, man? How he must have been feeling when the creator of the world was speaking directly to him. And a lot of times we miss that, guys, because God speaks to us too. I would love to have a burning bush experience, but I don't go out and light them on fire just so I can hear God speaking to them. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people Egypt. God knew the persecution that was going on in Egypt. Keep in mind, this lasted for generation after generation. This just didn't happen last week. This was on and on. Some of us are impatient when maybe the enemy attacking us. Wave after wave after wave. Things going wrong. Well, God sees all that stuff, but he doesn't act usually in our timing. Can you imagine how many Israelites were killed and slain during that whole stay in Egypt? Lots. And so God sees all this. We would say in our mind, why would God allow this kind of thing to happen? Guys, I'm telling you. Just like now, why does God allow things to happen? We have free choice. We do have free choice. But this is really cool. He said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. So God is telling Moses, first of all, he knows what's going on. And God is saying something through this bush that only Moses would know, unless it was God. He knows the people of Israel have suffered greatly, and this bush is telling him about it. What that does is it lets him know that he is truly in the presence of God. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So because of all that, God is getting ready to do something Moses ain't gonna like. That's what happens to us a lot of times. You know, God wants us to do something, and we go, oh man, yeah, but I can't. I don't know how. You know, and we're talking to a holy God that spoke the world into existence, and we're concerned that we don't know how. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh. You go, what? I just ran out from there and left there, run for my life. I got a wife and kids, and man, I can't go to Pharaoh. He says, I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Oh my gosh, can you imagine what he's feeling right now? See, God had a God-sized task for him. God knew that Moses couldn't just walk in there and say, let all your slaves go, we're leaving. You see, and it didn't happen that way either. There was lots of trials and stuff that had to happen. But God knew the whole picture, just like he does now with us. So he gives us our instructions, and then we feel like we have to implement them in our own power. We can't. We can't. If God gives us marching orders, he will make sure that we can march. But Moses said to God, now he's going to argue with God for a while. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? He said, I'm just Moses. I mean, he's Pharaoh. It would be like me walking into the White House and say, okay, you're out of here. Me? God said, I will be with you. Well, if that is good news. Guys, we're not in this thing by ourselves. God is with us in this thing. And everything that he assigns for us to do, he will equip us to do. Just last night,